And welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves. My name's Damian Dennis, and we're back here at Grounded Coffee Bar in New Lenox to talk men's basketball. And joining me is head coach Danny Turner. Welcome to the Grounded Coffee Bar, Danny.
Hey, Dennis. Thanks for having me.
I think it's your first time out here because, schedules don't usually line up. But, what do you make of the place?
Hey, I tell you, this is a really neat spot. Pretty cool. Kind of chic, if you will.
Yeah. I like it, and they've been a great partner, as you know. But yeah, we're here to talk men's basketball. Your season just came to an end with a sixth place finish nationally, just shy of that fifth place finish. But I mean, we're going to dive into that conversation here in a moment. But we've already talked about where we're at here at Grounded Coffee Bar, so we'll kick it to the ad. Coffee with the Wolves is presented by Grounded Coffee Bar.
Hey everyone, it's a great day to get grounded. With locations in New Lenox and Frankfort, it's always a good time to stop by and try our seasonal drinks. Whether that's cherry as summer comes to an end or pumpkin as fall begins. We've also updated our hours to better serve you. We're open late on Fridays and Saturdays now until 9 p.m. Make sure you're following our socials, that's Instagram and Facebook, for the latest updates on our specials and events so you don't miss out. Grounded Coffee Bar is a proud sponsor of Coffee with the Wolves and JJC Athletics.
All right, and so Danny, what did you get, by the way?
I tell you, I got a lemonade with a shot of a couple fruit flavors.
Nice. I've got the cold brew. I always get the cold brew here. It changes flavors, but the coffee they use is just great.
Hey, this lemonade is very, very tasty.
I'm kind of glad they gave me a straw because I've not had a chance to shave or trim my mustache. There's been times I'll hit record when we're here and be like, oh, I need a napkin. But we're here again to talk about your season coming to a close. Finished sixth place nationally. Let's just start there. I think you went 2-2 overall at the national tournament. You started hot. You won that first game, lost the second game, came back in the consolation bracket to win that one. Then you lost the final game. But a little bit of back and forth. But after that, that's been kind of the story of the whole year, really.
Yes.
Your team has been up and down. You started kind of hot, then you went on. You got cold, and it's just kind of been back and forth all season. So we'll kind of just speak to just finishing sixth.
Well, I tell you what, man, we were just so gritty. Showed a lot of courage to compete at a high level, having gone through that adversity that you alluded to. Just ready to go. Kind of a strange group, though, because sometimes you try to get a read on them, like during a pregame warm-up, and they're not really breaking a sweat. Yeah. You're like, oh, my God. You're looking at the opponent, and they are. But then once the ball goes up, we're competing at a high level.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I can't remember because it was 2 seasons ago now when your team was back at the national tournament, the last time you were there. Mm-hmm. How would you compare these two experiences, that first time and then this time? And, as a coach, do you think you've kind of improved based on those experiences?
Oh, absolutely. Each team has their own identity in terms of just the individuals coming together as a group. But it was a great experience 2 years ago. But this one was just even more special because we went through a different type of adversity. In our route. I tell you what, when we got to the national tournament, I had guys ill. I had guys with the flu. I had guys food poisoning experience. So to be honest with you, our very first game this year in the national tournament, all my guys weren't 100%.
Yeah. How do you kind of battle through that? Because, it was weird looking at the box score. For each of those games, like I know Jeffrey Fleming's usually guys putting up a double-double for you, I think, and I don't know offhand, maybe you do, but I think he only recorded 1 at the national tournament, and that's out of character for a guy who's usually doing it every game.
Yeah, he's such a tough competitor, man. We're the day after the season ended, we're looking for another Jeffrey Fleming. Yeah. Because we got to reshape our roster, obviously. But he's just a tough kid, man. And just rare, type of player. Was a double-double guy 2 years in a row with the talent that we had around him, and he was a target. Yeah. Every game. But kudos to him for sticking it up. And to mention, he was one of the guys that suffered from food poisoning during the tournament.
Yeah, and clearly, that impacted him and the team. But you guys did a very good job of battling through it. I mean, the best job you could have done was winning the whole thing, but that's very hard to do.
Yes.
But, you're battling these illnesses, these injuries. But we saw guys step up that we know have that caliber. Levi Goad's one of them. We've seen him perform at a high, clip, basically, for his 2 years here at JJC. But it seemed like he just kind of took control at the national tournament.
Yeah, he did. He averaged 19 points throughout the 4 games. And Levi could have averaged 20 points a game.
Yeah.
But he sacrificed for the better of the team. I mean, he's that talented. He's a 3-level scorer, right? The layup, the midi, and he can definitely shoot the 3. He's at a high clip at the 3. He's shooting like 42%. That's well above average from that range. And but he sacrificed for the team. He was our 6th man last year, and then this year, he was a captain and really grew into his own. And I think his best years are ahead of him.
Yeah, and someone who kind of the second half of the season really took a step forward, Jayavion Green. He. I know you know what he was capable of, and us being on campus, we could see it. But, sometimes, you send me the results for those away games. I'm at the home games when I can be.
Sure.
And we're talking, we can see the play. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the second half of the season, especially in the late push to make the national tournament, and then at the national tournament, even in the postseason before that, the district championship.
Yeah.
He's grown into what I think you would hoped and expected him to be.
Well, I tell you what, interesting story with Jayavion. We knew he was a shooter when we recruited him, and my former assistant, Quincy Jones, was the one that really got him into our program. And last year, Jayavion didn't play a whole lot. There were some things that he needed to make an adjustment with, within his game.
Yeah.
And so he didn't play a whole lot of minutes. And then this year, our first 4 or 5 games, he didn't start and wasn't getting a whole lot of minutes. But then he started to just develop and practice with certain things that we wanted him to do, right? I mean, we have the standards. Standards are for everybody. Everybody has a different role, but the standards stay the same for everybody. And so he really bought into his role, as a shooter and as a defender, one of our top defenders. And gosh, he was leading the country in Division III in field goal, 3-point field goal percentage. He was at 52% for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And he finished with a high clip shooting the 3 for us. But just outstanding tournament for him. Matter of fact, he had 33 points in one game at the national tournament.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about some of your freshmen. Ricky Hill, I mean, he's been phenomenal for you all season. Can you speak just to his performance? Wow. Just throughout the year.
I tell you what, he's a mighty mouse, man. I mean, for a kid of his stature and physical stature, and he plays at a high level. Very, very cerebral, conceptual approach to the game. He has things that you can't teach. He just has that great feel for the game. He stepped up big for us all year. Got hurt, I think, the first or the second game, right? Didn't play the first game, got hurt, was out for a little bit. I think he was out for like 3 or 4 games early in the season. But in the playoffs, he just really, really was Ricky Hill.
Yeah.
His assists increased, his point production increased, and even his defense on and off the ball was really key for us.
And, we didn't mention it talking about Levi there, but he earned all-tournament honors, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and, I know we're still waiting on some other things, potential All-American stuff, which you've let me in on. Like, we're waiting on that news. But, Jeffrey Fleming, he was a All-American last year.
He was nominated for All-American last year. And
nominated.
I just got a call this morning, matter of fact, from administration with the NJCAA, and they're requesting that I fill out the form and nominate those 2 guys for an All-Star game.
Yeah,
that's going to happen in a couple months. So we're hoping that they get that nomination.
Yeah. So, the last couple years, especially with those guys, you've kind of built the foundation of your program here, Danny. How do you kind of build upon that, and especially dealing with, turnover the way we do at this level? Because you're losing Jeffrey and Levi. They're transferring, potentially getting recruited by four-year institutions.
Yes.
You still have those freshmen that contributed this year. Hopefully, others coming in. Obviously, you're recruiting. You were telling me about a recruit you got coming in before we hit record. How do you just kind of deal with the roster turnover and keeping kind of that foundation intact?
Well, I tell you what, recruiting is every day. Even at the national tournament, we're recruiting in terms of emails and phone calls and things of that nature. But it's every day, and we try to reestablish the same type of kid that we've recruited. I mean, we do have standards with that, and we try to bring the best, the highest character, the best student, and the best player.
Yeah.
All that into one. But we're out there. And another thing is, playing at a high level and reaching the level that we've reached this year, or the success, I should say. We're getting flooded. I'm getting flooded with emails. I'm getting flooded with office calls.
Yeah.
So the program speaks for itself. So that makes recruiting a little easier.
Yeah.
So
how do you find the time to recruit? Because, you have another job outside of this, not maybe the parent, parents, the student athletes don't realize you're just not a coach like you would be maybe at a big 4-year, a Big Ten school, for example.
Right.
You're working during the day, then you come to campus and doing another job, because coaching is a job, a fun job, but a hard job.
Yes.
How do you find the time to recruit, and how do you deal with time management, really?
Well, I tell you what, man, being a teacher by profession, with that type of training, I would like to think that I'm somewhat organized, and have an approach, have a goal, but just, really spending my time as wisely as possible, trying to economize, have players, recruit players, and of course, other coaches, so we're all helping each other as we go through it, but just trying to economize the best way I can.
It's interesting because I'm just talking about this, but I realize I've known you for 3 years now, over 3 years. I don't know what subject you teach.
Well, I teach driver's ed. I teach a modified driver's ed. I'm more for special need kids and special ed kids, and then I teach upper level PE. At Thornwood High School, Thornton School District 205.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, the season's over now. How do you and your team kind of adjust? Because, your sophomores, hopefully they're getting recruited, they're going through that process again.
Sure.
Or if maybe their basketball careers are over, looking at transferring for academics or staying at JJC. How do you help guide your sophomores who are done with you? This sounds weird to say, but, finished with the program.
Yeah.
But, moving on. And then also kind of dealing with the freshmen who are going to become your sophomores, and then, the recruits on top of it.
Sure. Well, I tell you what, just today, just this afternoon, we sent out my schedule. Where they would have a time window where they would have to choose for to come in for their exit interviews. And sophomores get the first div on that, and we'll start that next Wednesday. So I'll see the sophomores through. We'll cover everything that has to do with matriculating to the next level. We'll talk about staying abreast of their present academics, and making those contacts with those college coaches. My phone's been blowing up and the emails have been blowing up, not just with recruits, but with college coaches, interested in our sophomores. We've got Victor Yatu, 6'9", post player. I'm getting a lot of information for him. And then, of course, Levi and Jeff. And then we have Josh Dillon. We have Javion Green. And just getting those interviews through and taking care of those sophomores first.
Yeah.
So and seeing, creating a plan for them and making those necessary contacts for those guys. And then the following week, so in 2 weeks, I'll meet with the freshmen.
Yeah.
And then we'll go over goals and, everything that relates to training, in the off season. Yeah. As well as staying abreast with the academics.
How do you deal with, and kind of on the topic of recruiting, but how do you deal with the possibility potentially, I don't know if this is happening or not currently, but, like maybe a 4-year school or another, JUCO or just another, program in general, possibly recruiting your freshmen, you like the guys who you're hoping to return next year.
Right. Well, I tell you what, we're looking to re-sign a couple of those guys. We got a kid by the name of Kareem Parker, 6'7" post, outstanding growth over this year, and he's a big-time scorer and rebounder for us in quite a few challenging games. But he's getting approached, and we knew that would happen. And even at the national tournament, he's telling me, hey, coach, so-and-so, university contacted me, talked to me after this game, et cetera. And but he still has a lot more development to do, and I think he's happy where he's at, and he knows about how important it is to continue to grow.
Yeah.
But they're hitting my freshmen. We look at the state of college basketball now with the transfer portal. Even though we don't have a transfer portal for the NJCAA, if you will, but they're coming after everyone. So everyone's an open market, so to speak.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask, kind of on this, in the same realm, but, and I know you can't get into specifics, but, your sophomores hopefully moving on. How many do you think are going to continue their playing careers? Without giving away specifics, because we don't want to violate any.
No, by no means. I would say at least 4 guys, can legitimately make some contributions at the next level. And, they're pretty good players.
Yeah. Well, the year's over with Danny. I know you said you got these exit interviews and you got recruiting, but how does it feel to just kind of be through the 2025-26 season?
Well, I tell you what, man, I still haven't come down. I still haven't come down yet. And, I've got a load of classes to teach at the high school and get those classes organized and not lose a beat with that. And just trying to get back to normalcy. If you will. But we go on spring break in a couple weeks, and I think that will be the key time when I can come back down.
Yeah. What plans do you have for spring break here in a couple weeks?
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's definitely going to be basketball related too, but I have no present plans on going away.
Yeah.
Just spending time with my son. Colin's been a mainstay for us. He's been on the bench with us and doing all those things in a helpful way, and even from a social standpoint, and just spend some quality time with him because he's well deserving of that.
Yeah. Thinking about it, you're going to do some basketball, spend time with the family. I don't know exactly when your spring break lines up, but I do know what is it? Is it the Sweet 16 or whatever is in Chicago? There's something in Chicago. The Final Four is in India.
Not too far away, and I've gone to many of those in Indianapolis over the years. But I'll probably just stay in the confines of my home and watch that on the screen.
Yeah,
for sure.
I looked into going because I'm like, it's in Chicago. Ooh, it's in Indy, and then I'm like, I don't know if I have the time or money.
Right.
But
I tell you what, we've done enough traveling. We've been everywhere: Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. We've been all over the place. And that's what we tell our recruits.
Yeah.
Come to JJC and get that big experience, educational experience.
I'm glad you brought that up because immediately when you started talking about the travel, I was going to ask about that, whether it's recruiting or just the experience, because I know it's not even just basketball. Last week when you were at the national tournament, softball and baseball, baseball was in Texas and Oklahoma, softball was in South Carolina.
Yes.
You guys in basketball go up to Minnesota every year. When you reach the postseason, you were in, like you said, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio,
Michigan,
yeah,
yes, and the like.
And I think it was last year. I know our bowling team this year, for example, there no bowling program this year after the passing of Jeff Bailey. But last year the bowling program went to Las Vegas. So the travel opportunities at JJC are just pretty fun.
I tell you what, man, a high-profile coach in the city of Chicago at the high school level reached out to me the other day, and he goes, "My gosh, man, you've been all over the country. You're a Division III school, program. You've been all over competing at a high level, and that was very interesting to hear that, that comment, and it's true though, and that's the only way to build. You can't pick up sticks and to get stronger.
Yeah.
You got to play the best."
And on top of that, I mean, just being in college is about experiences on top of learning and being able to travel, especially as part of a team. I didn't play college athletics. Barely played high school athletics myself, but when I was in college, I took advantage of like field, not field trips, but basically field trips. We went to Boston when I was in university, so from Detroit. So
wow,
but
that's huge.
When I was in high school, I would have never thought about going to Boston or anything.
Yeah. We I guess being the educator in me, but I mean, we took a trip on the way back to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And actually 2 years ago, we made it to the national tournament. We did the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to go to Syracuse University like we did 2 years ago, but we did go to Utica University and took a tour of that campus with the head coach being cordial.
And it was funny because before you even mentioned it yourself, I was going to ask about Syracuse a couple of years ago because that was something you arranged, and you went to Utica as well. Like,
yes. It's all about just getting the best overall educational experience for our student athletes.
Yeah.
And I always remind our guys, you're not just players, you're student athletes, and in our program, we're going to provide that education for you, educational experience the best way we can.
Yep. All right. Well, we're getting busy here at Grounded Coffee Bar, so I think that's our cue to start wrapping up. We're recording later in the day because, as you mentioned, you are a teacher full time. So,
Yes.
We had to come here after school hours, and it's busy. But anyway.
Well, listen, Dennis, again, as we close, thanks again for having me, man. It's been a pleasure, of having me on your show. You do an outstanding job throughout our athletic department and not even just filming our games and the commentary and all that, man. We are very fortunate to have you.
Got to give a big shout out, and especially the play-by-play and the commentary to Devin Jones, our intern.
Yep.
We had Roger and Eric this year doing play-by-play. Yep. Chris from Wolfpack Video Club, who helped man the camera. I've tried getting them all out here for this time, or even the on-campus ones, but
and even Coach Sanderson did a great job fulfilling in the times.
Oh yeah, he stepped in a few times this year because there were a lot of games where it was just Devin. So I was like, "Hey, Coach, you want to your game? We ain't got anybody, but you want to step in for Danny's?" He's like, "Yeah," and I think he got a paid gig doing it too.
Yeah, he's natural. He's natural at it.
I'm creating opportunities for everybody.
Oh, great stuff, man. I really mean that, but we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Now, and to everyone watching, stumbling over my words, I always have a hard time ending this, but you've been watching and listening to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by Grounded Coffee Bar. We end every week with our Wolf of the Week, and before we even get to that point, Danny, it's going to be Levi.
Levi Goad it is.
Yeah, Levi's Wolf of the Week. We'll see you next week here on Coffee with the Wolves.